Hello and welcome to Unpacking Activities. The activity we're going to unpack today is a two-way cloze dictation. And the way it works is one student gets a text with some blanks, the other student gets the same text but with different blanks. And so one student has some of the words, the other student has the other words, and they need to work together to complete the text. This activity gets mistaken by a two-way info gap, but it's actually not, and we'll get to why in just a minute. First, let's look at some of the positive aspects of it. The first one is that it can be good for spelling. The students need to complete these blanks, and they're going to need their partner's help to spell out the words. It could also be something different to do with a text. Nothing wrong with that. And you might think it could be good for pronunciation, but not necessarily, because the students might mispronounce the words and they would still be able to complete the blanks. The biggest potential pitfall is that it can be done without paying attention to meaning. And this is why this is not an info gap. It is not an interpersonal communication activity. Dictation is not interpersonal communication. There is no exchange of meaningful content, meaningful information. All the students are doing is reading words out loud, which they may or may not know what they mean, and the other person writes them down. That's it. So that is not interpersonal communication. What are some adjustments you can make? Well, the biggest adjustment is that it cannot be just a standalone activity. You'll need to incorporate comprehension activities after the text is complete. Another possible variation could be to have the students take a look at the text with the blanks and individually try to guess what words go in the blanks. And that way, they're paying attention to the text before they engage in the interaction with their partner. So there's a bigger chance that they'll pay some attention to meaning when they are interacting. If they guessed a word that is not quite what needed to be there, they might ask, why? What does that mean? Or isn't it the same? So we're increasing the odds of some negotiation of meaning. A possible variation that I think could work very well is to use a different type of text, like a menu. And now we are targeting numbers. Saying numbers, listening to numbers and writing down numbers. So how would it work? One student would get a version of the menu with some blanks. Some of the items are not there, some of the prices are not there. And another student would get a similar version of that menu, but with different blanks. One thing you may notice here is that I did not keep them in the same order. And that is to prevent students from simply asking each other, what's the first number? What's the second number? What's the third number? That doesn't work if the items are not in the same order. So now student A, for example, would need to ask, how much does the salad cost? Or what's the item that costs $1.50? And then student B would be able to help them out. All in all, I think it's important to keep in mind some of the shortcomings of two-way cloze dictation, especially the fact that they are not info gaps. They look like an info gap, but they're not an info gap. So if you're looking for interpersonal communication activities, check out some of the info gap tasks that we did unpack in earlier videos. If you have any other suggestions, please write them in the comments. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time.